My name is Susan Dachenhausen, and I'm going to be giving the Martinez Elementary School data overview. I'm first going to be discussing our school and giving an introduction, stating the purpose of this presentation, discussing CCRPI data, demographic data, performance data, and identifying causes. Then we're going to talk about questions and next steps. This is Martinez Elementary, home of the Eagles. We are a STEM certified school and a Title I reward school. Martinez Elementary was established in 1962. However, in 2015, we moved into a brand new 103,000 square foot state-of-the-art building. It is equipped with a large gymnasium, learning commons, music room, fixed computer labs, one on the upper level as well as one on the lower level, a large cafeteria with a stage to have performances and presentations, and interactive technology throughout the building. We are a K-5 elementary school. Our principal is Mr. Wade White, and our assistant principal is Miss Leslie Dial. Some special notes. Again, we are a Georgia Department of Education STEM certified school. We have a 5-star Georgia Department of Education school climate rating. Our college and career readiness score is above the Georgia Department of Education average. We are a grant recipient for STEM initiatives, and we currently have 26 gifted endorsed teachers. The purpose of this presentation is to look at demographic over the past 3 years, identify any trends in that demographic data, review performance data results from the Georgia Milestones Assessments in ELA Math and Science in grades 3 through 5, and identify any possible causes and trends over the past 3 years. The first piece of data we're going to discuss is the CCRPI elementary school data. We can see that we're comparing the state, district, and schools over the course of the years 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018, 2018 to 2019. From the data, we can see that each year, MES scored above the average scores of both the state and district until the year 2019. Our district outscored the state each year. And at MES, we made a significant improvement from 2016-2017 year to the 2017-2018 school year. We can see that MES went from 80.3%, a score of 80.3 to a score of 92. However, the next year we decreased to 78.5, which we'll discuss in section 4. Now we're going to look at the demographic data of our faculty as well as the demographic data of our students. We're going to start with the demographic data of our teachers by gender. We can see that we are predominantly at MES female teachers. 90 to 95% of our teachers are female. However, in 2018-2019, we did increase to 9.5% of our teachers being male. We can see here that this is a breakdown of our percentage of teachers by the race. We can see again that we're predominantly white teachers, that at MES we have about 7 to 10% of our teachers being black, and in 2018-2019 we gained a multiracial teacher. The observation of this data is that we do have minimal diversity representation among our teachers. This data is the years of teaching experience among MES teachers. We can see that we are collecting data of less than 1 year teaching, 1 to 3 years teaching, 4 to 10 years teaching, 11 to 20 years teaching, and more than 20 years teaching. From this data, we can see that we are continuously increasing teachers that have 20 or more years of experience, as well as our teachers with 4 to 10 years of experience are consistently increasing over the past 3 years. We can see that our teachers who have 1 to 3 years teaching experience is decreasing, but we are gaining those teachers with their years of experience in the 4 to 10 year band. So we're retaining our teachers and keeping them so that way they're getting more of their year's experience. Next, we're going to look at the student demographic data of Martinez Elementary students. We can see that over the course of the 3 years that the data is very comparable. It is pretty equal and level across the board. There was no significant gain or decrease in percentage of students in a specific race. However, we can see there was a 2% increase of Black students from 2016-2017 school year to 2017-2018, and we did increase 1.1% of our multiracial students from 2017-2018 school year to 2018-2019 school year. This is a demographic data of our students that are economically disadvantaged, our English language learners, and our students with disability. We can see from the data that we had an 11% increase of economically disadvantaged students from the school year of 2016-2017 to the school year of 2017-2018. But overall, our English language learners and our students with disabilities remained level across the 3 years. The next piece of data we're going to look at is our student attendance data. We have 5 or fewer days, 6 to 15 days absent, or more than 15 days absent. One piece of data that is observable is that we increase the percentage of our students with 5 or fewer absent days, which is a positive note because the percentage of students with 6 to 15 days absence or more than 15 days absence has decreased in those 3 years. So we're retaining our kids here at school. We're encouraging them to come to school, and they're attending more throughout the year than previous years. The next piece of data we're going to look at is performance data of Georgia milestones scoring at proficient or exceeding or distinguished levels on the ELA, math, and science GMAS assessments. We can see that the year 2016-2017 is represented by our blue graph. We can see 2017-2018 school year is represented by our red, and 2018 to 2019 school year is represented by our yellow. This will be consistent across the math and science data representations and graphs. Overall, we can see that in our ELA GMAS, that the school percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on ELA GMAS were above the state percentage. 2 out of the past 3 years, MES, the school level, was above the district level of percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on GMAS. And MES percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on ELA GMAS has increased over the course of the 3 years. We can see that we're at 49.8% in 2016-2017. We increased to 54.9% of our students, and then to 56.9% of our students here. So we definitely increased over the course of those 3 years. Here we can look at our math GMAS data. So each of the past 3 years, the school percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on math GMAS were, like ELA, above the state percentage. 2 out of the 3 years, the district percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on math GMAS were above the school percentage. But MES made a 10.2% increase in percentage of students scoring at proficient or distinguished levels on the math GMAS from the year 2016-17 school year to the 2017-2018 school year. So we did make a good gain from these 2 years. However, that next year we decreased about 2% in the 2018-2019 school year. And here we're going to look at our science GMAS data. Currently, only our 5th graders take the science GMAS. So over the past 3 years, the school percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on science GMAS were again, like ELA and math, above the state percentage. 2 out of the 3 years, the school percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on science GMAS were above the district percentage. But MES had a 9% decrease in percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on science GMAS between 2017-2018 and the 2018-2019 school year. So we went from 60.6% to 51.6%. So we had a drop that year. Some causes that we can look at. First, we're going to discuss our CRPI score. So each year our score stayed above both the state and district until that 2019 school year. For the 2019 CCRPI scoring, we did not score well in closing gaps as previous years. So in 2018, we scored the highest CCRPI score that we have received. This made it very difficult for our school to reach those target achievement points for closing gaps for the next year. Each section increased, pushing our kids even further, and as much as we tried, we could not reach those. Reach those target points. Therefore, we did not receive the points for closing gaps. MES percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on ELA GMAS has increased over the course of 3 years. So in 2016-2017 school year, we adopted a reading curriculum called H into Reading and began intensive reading groups for our students that fell in the lowest 20% on the Universal Screener Diagnostic Screeners. And this really strengthened our reading instruction for all students, trying to fill any gaps that needed to be filled with all ages of our students and really being very purposeful in our reading instruction, more so in the younger grades than the upper grades. There was a very intensive reading instruction in our K2 classrooms, and we started EIP groups for our readings instruction for students that fell in the lowest 20% of our national norms of the Universal Diagnostic Screeners. MES had a 9% decrease in percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on science GMAS between the school years of 2017-2018 and 2018-2019. So the curriculum that we use currently for science is more of a supplemental curriculum. Our district uses STEM scopes, and it's great for STEM implementation, exploration, and discovery components. It gets the students working hands-on and really allowing them to come to the conclusions themselves or have that self-realization of the why things are happening the way they are with the science concepts. However, our students really need more practice with applying those science conclusions and applying those science concepts to real-world situations that are posed without guided instruction. Some questions that I want us to think about for our next steps are: what can we do to help close the gaps to meet the needs of our students to achieve those set targets? How can we improve science test scores among 5th grade students? And what can we do to increase the diversity representation among our teacher staff? So here's what I would like for us to do. I would like for you to discuss findings, observations, and the discussion questions with a colleague. Create a plan to address the decreasing percentage of students at proficient or distinguished levels on science GMAS. Also think about a plan to address the minimal diversity representation among our teacher population. And then decide how we can collect data to progress monitor the percentage of students meeting standards for science instruction. We really want to think about what we need to be able to do and what data we need to be able to collect to make sure we're addressing the needs of our plan for our students to score at proficient or distinguished levels on GMAS. If you have any questions, please contact me at the information below. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have or get those answers to you as soon as I find the answer to them. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out.